Hello, hello. Welcome to Anthony Call Your Music. I have a great lesson for you today on passing chords and where to use them. So let's just dive right in to the lesson. So I have a little personal definition on how I view passing chords. Passing chords are tools used to take me to a specific target chord, and they tend to be non-diatonic. And I believe that each degree in our scale can be approached by at least one specific passing chord. I'll be teaching based off of this chart. So we are in the key of D flat today. D flat is our 1, E flat is our 2, F is our 3, F sharp or G flat is our 4, A flat is our 5, B flat is our 6, C is our 7, back to the 1. Okay? So each one of these degrees can be a target chord. Therefore, we need to approach one of these target chords with a chord that happens to be non-diatonic. So where can we find these non-diatonic chords or degrees? Well, between our 1 and our 2, we have our flat 2. And some of you might know this, but let's just go over it real quick. Between our 3 and our 4, we have a flat 3. Between our 4 and our 5, we have a flat 5. Between our 5 and our 6, we have a flat 6. Between our 6 and our 7, we have a flat 7. Okay? So the flat 2, the flat 3, the flat 5, the flat 6, the flat 7, those are all instances or places where I would consider it to be called a non diatonic location, or me personally, I would call it secondary degrees. And this video right now is part one of a 3-part series where we'll talk about degrees and what to do over specific degrees. What is the quality of the chord that we're going to play on the flat 2, flat 3, flat 5, 6, 7? For right now, for right now, each one is going to be a diminished chord. And as you can see on this chart, we have our target chord, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To 1, we have our passing degree, all of the degrees that I talked about, either the flat 2, flat 3. I'm not going over it again. And each one of those places that we put the chord specifically will be a diminished chord. So some of our target chords can be approached by a diminished chord, either a half step above itself or a half step below itself. So let's take the 1. I would definitely say that this is a less common option, but let's say you're walking down from the 4. Why is it a passing chord? We put it in between 2 diatonic chords in our key. And if you will, technically, somebody could say that the original progression was for you to just walk down. Was originally 4 chords, but we added a 5th chord and we put it in a specific time. Let's say our target chord is the 2. I really like this one. In a specific song, I don't know. It's up to you. Let's say you're going up and you're trying to get up to the 2. Well, we can approach the 2 with a diminished passing chord a half step below our 2, D diminished. So, passing chord, right? Or let's approach the 2 from a half step above itself. So we're walking down, right? 4, 3, flat 3, 2, flat 3 to 2. Okay, our passing chord is on the flat 3, and we're doing a diminished chord. All right, the 3. Our target, we want to land on the 3. Well, I can approach this one with only one chord, and it happens to be a diminished chord on the degree that is a half step below our target chord. So our flat 3. Let's see. My target is the 4 now, right? Well, it seems like there's only one option, so I can only approach the 4 from the flat 5 by descending down. So let's see. That might be the original progression, right? But to add a passing chord between the 5 and the 4, I'm going to have to use the flat 5. I don't know if I said it yet, but when you see diminished, I'm referring to a diminished triad or a diminished 7 chord. And it's up to you and your song and your ear to decide which one you want to use. So our 4 only has one option, a flat 5 to a 4. So let's say if we're going from 1 to 4. One more time. Here we go. Okay, the 5, my favorite. Our target is a 5. We can approach it with the by flat 5, or approach it from coming down from the flat 6. Let's see. Or let's keep going. So the 6 now, you can approach the 6 by the flat 6, or from a flat 7. So the 6, if I'm being honest, the most common option is to approach the 6, our target chord, by the flat 6. We have the option to do a diminished chord on the flat 7 to get to the 6. Does that sound all that great to me? No, but do you have the option? Yes, and that's what this whole chart is trying to get you to understand. And then our 7, we can approach it from the flat 7 and play a diminished chord based off of that. Let's say our song was going from the 6 to the 7 to the 1, right? Well, we can throw in with a quick little passing chord from the 6, flat 6, 7 to the 1. Let's try to do it in time. I don't know. Just made it up. All right. So I hope that this was understood. I might not need it, but just as a recap, we have our target chords, the chords that belong to the key. Every major key has the same passing degrees or same secondary degrees. And we'll talk about that in the next video. But yeah, the flat 2, the flat 3, the flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. And each one of those degrees that we play a passing chord, the quality of the chord will be a diminished chord. And I think this is a huge key to improv. It's one thing to know all of your chords that belong to the key, all the diatonic chords, but it's something about unlocking these other places in our key that opens up your ear, opens up your playing. And you just want to always have those options. And not only do you want to know where to put these things, but you want to know all the different chord quality options that you have over said degree. And that's what we're going to talk about for the secondary degrees and for the primary degrees next video. But the chart might look intimidating, but really it's the same chord quality for every single secondary degree. And we haven't talked about the last one. Option 2, I'm doing the same thing, playing a diminished chord, a minor third below the root for every degree. That's what I love. Option 3, a major chord, a major third below, a dominant chord, a major third below. It's the same across every secondary degree. So I think that helps many people say, okay, I know exactly what to do. I know what sound does what. So option 1 is what I would call the easiest slash most common occurrence of all the different options we can do over these degrees, these secondary degrees. Option 2 is telling us to play a diminished chord or diminished 7, a minor third below the root. So our flat 2, we're in the key of D flat, our flat 2 is D, that's our root. A minor third below our root is B. So I need to play a B diminished chord over the D. You can also do diminished 7. Remember, we're going from the 1, we're going to use a passing chord on the 2, on the flat 2 to get to the 2. So before, option 1 was just a regular diminish, D diminish. 7. Right now, this time I'm playing a B diminished over my flat 2. I'll do it with the 7th chord. Let's target the 6. So I'll probably be on the 5. What we did before, option 1, A diminished, regular diminished on the root, to target our 6th chord. Option 2 told us to play a diminished chord, a minor third below our root. Our root now is A, so 3 half steps below A, 1, 2, 3. Play a diminished chord based on that note, F sharp diminished. But we're gonna play that over our A, okay? So again, from the 5, we did option 1 to the 6. It's option 2. Or with the 7. Now, all right, I just thought of something. I don't want to go back. We're all new here. I said that when I say diminished, sometimes it can be the diminished 7. I think I misspoke. I think it's just the diminished triad. And you can see that if we try to play, if we play a diminished chord based off the minor third below our root, that gives us a different diminished chord technically when it's just a triad. A, C, E flat, F sharp, A, C. Sharing 2 notes but different. But if I throw the 7th on there, then that's just another family of the same diminished. So yeah, over the 5, we did that to get to the 6. Over the 5, we're going to do a F sharp diminished over the flat 6 for a certain voicing that we might want. All right, option 3. It says to play a major chord, a major third below the root. If B was our minor third, then B flat is our major third. Okay, so I'm going to play a major triad over this D. So let's do option 1. Option 2. Option 3. All of them are subtle changes, and the reason why I'm giving you guys these are because you want to play exactly what you hear. You just don't want to press. You don't just want to be a key masher. You want to know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. So me personally, I can hear the difference between me playing a B diminished over my flat 2 compared to a B flat diminished over my flat 2. And sometimes I want this sound, sometimes I want this sound. I'm giving you the option. No. All right, last option, so we can get out of here, is to play a dominant the same distance away. So to go through it quickly, option 3 was to play a B flat major over our flat 2. Now we're just going to do a B flat dominant over our flat 2 to get to the 2. And then I'll run through all of them like I did before, but yeah. Then our flat 6. Something that's a major third from our target is F. Do a F dominant over the A. Okay, listen. F dominant. A diminished. That's option 1. Option 2. Oops. Option 3. Option 4. Okay, so just to leave you with the song, to maybe play some of these, we can do Praise Him. Going to the flat 6 to go to the 6. Going to the flat 2 to go to the 2. 6, flat 6 to go to the 6. Walk up from other video. I'm not going to go over each video again, but in part 1 we talked about what diminished chords to play over certain degrees. And if you see, these passing degrees are in reference to part 2, which I call secondary degrees. In the key of C, C's are 1, D's are 2, E's are 3, F's are 4, G's are 5, A's are 6, B's are 7. Back to C. Every other note or all of the black keys that you see can be called secondary degrees. So here's a 1, here's a 2, or a sharp 1, or a flat 2 is a secondary degree. And we talked about how we have 4 options of chords to play on those specific degrees. And that point leads me to this last section, or this last part of our series, which is the chord option bank for our primary degrees, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? It's really a simple chart. This chart is letting us know which quality each degree holds. I look at this chart in 2 different ways, mostly the vertical way, but horizontally has some function as well. So if you see, option 1 is the normal way that we've always understood the quality order in a major key. So the 1 is always going to be major, the 2 is going to be minor, the 3 is going to be minor, whether it's 7 chords or triad 7 chords. So obviously the 5 can be major or dominant. The 6, 7, 1. If we look at it vertically, and this is how I practice it, I want to know, what can I do over this degree? We're in the key of C. What types of C's am I going to be playing? Whether it's, what do we have? Option 1, a major C, or a dominant C, or a sus. Like, all of this can be played over the 1, right? Sometimes I'm going to make the 1 minor. And even in a major key, that might sound weird, but the context is king. And then also I can play an augmented chord over the 1. And I won't bore you too long. I'm not going to go over every single degree. I do want to go over at least 3. We've gone over the 1, the different options that you can do over the 1. Let's go to the 4. Obviously, you can do a major. You see there, you can do major 7. Sometimes we make this 4 dominant. That normally happens a lot in blues. So technically we're still in a major key, but the entire genre of blues requires you to play dominance on the 1, on the 4, and the 5. Whereas option 1 shows you we normally just play that major over the 1, major over the 4. And so I'm just, again, showing you different options. I don't know how many times I'm going to say options, but you'll get the point. I do this so often. The 4 is normally major. Sometimes it's dominant. I love to make it minor. So I can end song. That's like one of my favorite moves. Major triad or major 7. Okay. Sometimes we do make that 4 a sus. And that was a sus 4 specifically. Or I can do a sus 2. The different variations of those sus chords. You can even do a minor 7 flat 5. It's a bit, not a bit, it has a lot of tension to it. But some people can make it work depending on the context, your voice leading. I'm just giving you the option. And the 5, normally this is dominant most of the time. Sometimes you want to have less tension, so you might just make it a major chord, depending on your song and the genre. You can also make it a minor 7. You can make this a sus. That was a sus 4, let's do sus 2. And then an augmented chord. I like that. It feels really cartoony. But yes. So in a nutshell, that is what this chart is giving us, all of our chord quality options for primary degrees. The previous video talked about all of the chord quality options for our secondary degrees. And when you combine both charts, you have something to do on every single note. So sometimes I like to look at it like this. We're in the key of C. We normally have 7 degrees, right? We talked about this already. When you add these secondary degrees, instead of 7 places to play, we've added 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With 7 plus 5, that is 12. So you've just went from a 7-degree player, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But as soon as you think in secondary degrees, you've opened up more places for you to go, and I just think that uh, is one of the fundamental things that any improviser needs is infinite places to go, infinite places to land, infinite places to get them to their target destination, and only having all of these options will provide you with that. All right. Just as a bonus, we see the different options we can have over the 3 and the 7. There's about 2 simpler ways to play a chord over that degree, which are just slash chords. So, especially a lot of time in gospel, we don't necessarily play, well, in the key of C, we don't necessarily play a minor chord over the 3, minor triad, or 7. A lot of people play 1 over 3, and that's just an option. Sometimes you can play the dominant 1 over E. Let me show you what that looks like with chord E. It's just a C7 over E. And then also we can play G over B. And you know me, I'd rather just say 5 over 7. 7th degree is B, play the 5. Sometimes you can do the still over the 7, play a dominant chord. Not just a dominant chord, a dominant 5 over B to get you to C. Alright, and then the last thing I'll leave you with is this. I did not include what to do over the flat 7. The flat 7 is obviously one of our secondary degrees. In the key of C, the sharp 1, flat 2, the sharp 2, flat 3, the sharp 4, flat 5, the sharp 5, flat 6, and we didn't talk about the flat 7. So in the key of C, you can play a major chord over that flat 7. Some people like to end songs like this: flat 6, flat 7 to 1. Let's change that major chord to a dominant chord. And great thing about all of this is we're just thinking of qualities. I'm not thinking of anything else. I'm on this B flat. This is my flat 7. There are only a certain amount of qualities I can play. So I just need to know my different chords. I know how to change this major chord into a dominant chord. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, please like it. Please go ahead and comment anything. Let's have some conversations. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day.